We just look out on the world from a Christian worldview point of view at the fact that the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, is meeting with Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. So what do you think, Beryl? Should we be worried? There's this new alliance being forged between their two countries that could result in upsetting the balance of power in the world. What do you think?
Yes, I think it could be upsetting the balance of power in the world. When you have binary powers, if you had just China and Russia, I'm sure they would be fighting it out between them as to who was top dog.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we do have the West, which makes for a third power, which tends to keep things more balanced. I mean, in itself, it's not balanced.
No. But if they join together and have some sort of alliance, so it's Russia and China versus the West, those are not the only powers. Of course, you have big countries like Iran, Muslim-majority countries. Which side would they take? At the moment, maybe you would say more likely China and Russia, but we don't know.
We don't know about Iran. There's India as well,
which has those links with Britain historically. So they're not the only possible world powers. Who would the allies be of China
Well,
and
exactly.
Russia?
That's what will worry me as to what kind of alliance we would end up with China gathering its allies. I don't think we know who are China's allies. We know they're natural allies.
The countries around them. But what countries do they have agreements with in place of war, for example?
We have economic agreements with people.
Yes. Now, if China and Russia join forces in a war, you've got Russia with all its natural resources, oil, gas and fuel, and you've got China with lots and lots of people, a huge army. If they were joined together, they may be an unstoppable force.
I think so.
So it could be worrying, but on the other hand, maybe with the West being so powerful historically, maybe it will stop what seems to be rather hawkish, as in warmongering behaviour from the United States leadership. Perhaps it'll rein that in.
It may, but I tend to think the United States and the West in general want to make China and Russia like them.
Yeah, they do. No, I think that is a problem.
Yes.
In that generally Western leaders seem to be of this opinion that the only true form of government they would approve of is as another liberal Western democracy.
I can see their point to a certain extent.
But you could have a thoroughly Christian place to live, we would say it's best if it's Christian, run by a benevolent dictator, couldn't you? A Christian king.
I don't think that you can have a benevolent dictator who is not a Christian.
But what if they are a Christian? I guess it's a theoretical society, but
yes,
our system of government is not necessarily the best, but also the sort of philosophies that go with it. They seem to be trying to foist the West, America and Britain especially, trying to foist their strange woke ideology on other countries as well.
Primarily the West believes in freedom.
That's what they say.
Yes, they do say that, and I would have thought that was true.
I used to think that was true. I'm beginning to doubt it, but that's maybe a topic for another day. Just briefly, before we leave this topic, you know the AUKUS deal down in Australia with
Yes, treaty between Australia, the USA and Great Britain.
Yeah, the UK bit, yeah. If I'm right on this, what they're doing is combining on use, for example, submarines to have military and espionage ability, fact-finding ability out in the seas there around Australia. That's my reading of it. Is that right? Is that what you've heard?
Mm-hmm.
So how does that change the calculations to do with the meshing?
I don't know that it changes it a lot, really. Apparently Australia have said that despite the fact of being part of this AUKUS agreement, that they will not enter any military activity in the South China Seas, for example.
Right.
Which, of course, as a nation, they are quite close to and tend to be affected by. For example, if China were to start a war on Taiwan, Australia would be affected because of traffic going through that area.
Sure.
They've said they're not prepared to be involved in any war activity like that.
Yes. Well, I see that's good. I mean, I'm not sure whether that would hold completely if they're an actual war, but they certainly don't want to be part of stoking up a war.
No.
So maybe the balance of power is going to shift. It's unclear what agreements are actually going to be reached at this stage between the two countries.
China and Russia.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing. What we want is for people to step away from World War.
Yes.
Step back. Let's be calm.
Yes, and to go back to finding out whether we can't have more agreement with each other as individual nations to come to a peaceful settlement for the whole world, so that we all benefit, not just one or two above or three above the others.
Yeah.